Hello, and welcome back to the Sports Roundtable podcast at the State News, where we bring you all the new updates on sports and talk to you about MSU athletics. This week, we have been busy. We've got hockey, we've got men's and women's basketball, we've got football, we've got soccer, and we got to jump right into it. I'm here yet again with PJ.
PJ, yeah, I'm happy to be here.
My only guest.
Yeah. Luke's been on once.
Luke's been on two or three times.
Okay, yeah, more than once.
Either way.
Yeah.
He's been on more than once, but usually it's just...
Yeah.
Yeah. There it is. But we're going to jump right into it. We're going to start off with football. Football team is on a 3-game losing streak currently. Mm-hmm. And their record is better than it was last year. They only won 3 games last year, I think. And they're at 4 right now. So it's a game better. But they've got some things that they need to work on. Last game they struggled. They've been struggling on a lot on defense, taking a lot of penalty yardage. Now they're going against Purdue, who's 0-7 in conference. So, yeah, it should be an interesting matchup.
I think it's going to be really bad football. I'm just going to be blunt. I don't, it's not going to be fun to watch. It's not going to be exciting.
It's going to be either.
Painful. It's going to be a painful 3.5 hours.
But hopefully we win.
Right. Yeah, no, totally. Yeah,
Keep some hope. We don't want to give Purdue their first conference win.
No, I think MSU's going to win.
I think so, too.
Totally. It's just not going to be a fun watch.
No, it's gonna be horrible. I think that it's gonna make Michigan State almost look good in an aspect of playing against the last team in the conference. But
yeah, I think how is Purdue's offense? Because that matched up with our defense. I feel like our defense might be a bit better
than their offense.
Yeah. So I feel like offensively we're not awful.
No, I don't think we are either. And I think that we've talked about this before too, is we have guys that are going to be standout stars next year. We have Nick Marsh. We have Aiden Childs, he's gonna be electric next year, but they're so young, and that's what I think a lot of people forget about is, we have a defense that can go up against Ohio State for the first 15 minutes, and then we just plummet. But I think even our offense next year, I think that we will stand a good chance next year, and next year we'll be a bowl game team.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is more of a regroup year. What is it
like a rebuild?
Yeah, sure. I was thinking more setting almost an outline for what next year is
setting the tone.
Yeah, there we go.
That's what the team will be.
Yeah, and especially as with this being Jonathan Smith's first season with the team.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think people should have expected the team to be the best in the Big Ten or best in the country.
No.
So I think this is definitely more of a rebuilding year. And I definitely think it'll be exciting to see next year.
Well, that's something that we talked about at the beginning of the year on the podcast too, is if we go 6-6, that's a success.
Right.
And we've won 4 games. We have the chance to win 5, so I'm not wrong. We have a chance to win 5 games, possibly 6 if we can go up against Rutgers.
Yeah.
But only time will tell, I guess, if we see what we want to see on Friday, which Friday game?
Side note, I'm going to be doing concessions, so I might get a lot of angry MSU fans.
If we lose?
Just either way.
Just in general.
Yeah. But, I think the keys to the game are... I feel like getting off to an offensive push very early in the first quarter, and then not having as many penalties as we've been having this entire season so far.
Yeah, for sure.
And I guess having more control on defense. Yeah, just having more control on defense.
Yeah.
I guess when it comes to penalties and
I mean, even at the beginning of the year, our defense was great. Like you saw our defense compete with other teams' offense who were outstanding offenses. Like we saw ourselves against Oregon and against Ohio State kind of put up a fight through those first few minutes, like we said, and then it's just an overpowering offense that takes over our defense, and we aren't able to put up the fight that we want to. But if we can play our Michigan State, if they can play their football that they played at the beginning of the year against teams like Prairie View and like teams where we saw the defense really stand out, that's a win. Or even against Iowa, like it was 32-20, I think was the final score of that game. I think that's the game that Jonathan Kim had like 20 points.
Yeah, he had something like that. Yeah,
but
he had a lot of points.
But still, we were able to go against Iowa, who has had a pretty good team for the past few years, and still get within field goal range. And that might not have been our offense or Aiden Childs like making a run for it. It was Jonathan Kim who was kicking field goals, but it was still, we have so much to build off of with that.
Totally, yeah.
It's going to suck losing Jonathan Kim next year, though.
Yeah.
Speaking of him.
Yeah.
Because he's a grad student, I think.
Let's look it up.
I think he's in his last year of eligibility.
Yeah, I think you're right.
He's going to be a tough one to lose, but yeah.
Let's find him. Jonathan Kim, yeah, 6th year.
6th year. 6 years?
Jeez.
He probably has a COVID year.
Yeah, oh.
So his grad year and a COVID year, all 4 years of college. Was he a transfer? No. I don't know. So he's in his 6th year of college football?
Yeah. So.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen, there's other people who are in like their 6th or 7th years of college football.
Steven Izzo, didn't he do?
I think he did 6 years.
Yeah.
Because he had a COVID year and a grad year.
Yeah.
But then you got to think of the guys who get a COVID year, a grad year, and a transfer year.
Jeez, yeah.
That's 7 eligible years of college football.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah.
It's wild. All right, so we think that we can obviously put up a good fight against Purdue. What about score predictions for this game?
I'm going to guess 24 to 16 MSU.
It feels like low scoring for what this game is going to be. I feel like Michigan State's going to have more points than that.
Really? Okay. Well,
I'm going to go. See, this feels like an Iowa matchup to me. So I think that we're going to have
a lot of points overall.
Not a lot of points, but I think that we'll get into the 30s at least. So I'm going to go 35 to 20. MSU.
Wow.
Which is very similar to the Iowa score, but it feels right. It feels right. I think that I don't know. I don't know. But a win is a win.
Yeah.
I'll give you a high five if you win the score prediction. Okay.
I'm excited.
All right. Next on the list, we have Michigan State basketball. And both teams have been hot to start. Winning. Yeah. Not hot to start. Yeah. Women's basketball, yes.
Yeah.
Men's basketball has been winning games.
Yeah.
And that's
but they've
what
been
matters.
Yeah, but they've been very closely contested. I mean, MSU lost to Kansas, which a lot of people saw that coming. But besides that, they have 4 wins out of 5 games. 4 of them have been at home. Like, all those 4 wins have been at home. So, but yeah.
I mean, even in the one loss against Kansas, they stayed close. Like, they were close the whole time. But I think that that's kind of been a storyline for Michigan State basketball the past couple of years is you stay close within those top-ranked teams and then end up losing it in the end.
Yeah, it just kind of falls apart in the last few minutes.
Yeah. And Kansas has Hunter Dickinson, who's a former Michigan player, and he put up like 28 points, I think, in that game.
Something like that, yeah.
Within their first 8 points of the game for Kansas when we were
28 points.
I think it was 8-0. Or we were winning. I don't remember if we were ahead or what the deal was.
Kansas was ahead. Yeah.
Hunter Dickinson had every single point on the board.
Yeah.
And that's when I knew. I was like, oh boy.
The thing with Kansas is Kansas runs their offense through Hunter Dickinson, which is, I don't think that's super smart. I mean, I guess it's working for them.
Yeah.
It's working for them.
They're winning games. So.
Yeah. But like he's a 7'1" maybe center. So he doesn't have a great ability to shoot threes. So I feel like they should, if they were to run their offense through someone, I feel like it should be like a point guard or shooting guard. I mean, he is able to like throw outlet passes to the wings, but I don't know. I mean, it's working for them so far, so might as well keep it. But in the future, maybe March Madness, if they stick with it, I wouldn't be surprised if they start to lose.
Like if they were an upset team?
Yeah.
Yeah. I texted my dad. My dad is a Michigan fan and has been for his whole life. And I texted him when we were playing Kansas, and I was like, Hunter Dickinson, that name's familiar. I texted him, and I was like, he play at Michigan, or am I stupid? He was like, yeah. I said, how old is he, 30? Like, I remember when he was there when I was, like, in 8th grade.
Yeah,
in high school.
Yeah.
Like,
he looks old.
He's old.
Yeah.
My dad was like, yeah, I know. So, yeah, back to basketball. I mean, they're 4-1 to start the season, but you've been in all the games so far. What have you seen from them that you think that they need to fix going into conference play, or just fix in general?
Yeah, it's really their 3-point shooting is struggling a lot. Heading into the game against Samford, which they won last night, MSU beat Samford last night. They were shooting 20% from the 3-point line, which is really off, like 16 for 80, which is the worst in the Big Ten. It's just awful.
Oh my.
Yesterday they shot 29%, I believe, and they made 7 threes. And I will say, those 7 threes were like the most crucial points throughout the game. Most of them were the most crucial points. Xavier Booker hit the first 3 after MSU missed their first 9. That was when MSU started to kind of get into it. Booker had 5 quick points, and then it was, I'm trying to remember. I think it was Akins had a layup, and then Zapala had a dunk, and then all of a sudden the game was tied, and then all of a sudden like we hit a couple more, MSU hits a couple more threes, and then we're up 38-28. You know, like it was very crucial, and with that, a huge, like the biggest thing about the home games is the momentum that the Breslin creates. Like even Izzo said it yesterday after the game. He was like, there are a number of reasons why we won, and one of them was the crowd. Because after once the game was tied, and then when Cohen Carr flies and dunks it.
Flight 55.
Yeah, Flight 55, Jack Stager. Once he dunks, literally everyone is just on their feet cheering. I don't like, some of the loudest like crowds I've ever experienced have been these 4 games at home. After, it's just complete like pandemonium.
It's funny you say like how Izzo always gives credit to the crowd, because Adam Nightingale does the same thing after hockey games.
Oh, really?
Like, it's just, I love that coaches don't like take all the credit for themselves and their team and like how they coach, and they're like, yeah, I won that game for them. No, it was the crowd.
Right.
Like the crowd was into it. They were loud. Like that's always so interesting to hear their perspective from it after the game, because obviously as somebody who's watching the game or cheering for somebody, like cheering for the team, like you are around everybody that's cheering. But if you're in like not a quiet spot, but like up in the press box, none of us we can't yell.
Right.
So just hearing everybody around, like in the arena, whether it's Breslin or Spartan Stadium or Munn, like everybody just going wild.
Yeah.
Is so it's fun. Like it's just so fun. It's so much more fun to hear a crowd going crazy than you're getting shut out 3-0 and everybody's walking up to leave and it's like ooh.
Yeah. But besides that, I mean, MSU men's basketball, they kind of like the big thing this season for them is strength in numbers. I've like written this multiple times in articles. Like I like need to like stray away from saying this, but like genuinely, like it is such a big factor for the team. It's their deep roster. Like they have every night. It seems they play 10 players to 11 players. Sometimes even 12 or 13. Like like they just have so many players that can create momentum and can literally make or break the game.
Yeah.
And we've kind of seen this a little bit with Booker and Jackson Kohler switching on and off the bench, or the start.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like Jace Richardson. He's one of this. I talked about this with Thomas all the time, and like Izzo has said it. He's like the smoothest player ever.
Richardson?
Yeah, he's a freshman, and it's his 5th game, and he's just super confident and comfortable, and he just knows exactly where to go and what to do. So he's great. Like Trey Holloman, Cohen Carr, like literally, I mean, everyone else is just so good. Kurtang is, like Izzo said, is one of the best shooters he's seen.
Well, it's funny you say that too, because I've done the same thing with Michigan State hockey. Is Adam Nightingale keeps talking about the depth of the team and how there's no such thing as a first, second, third, fourth line. Like they have to put lines on a sheet of paper, and that's just how it goes. Yeah, like their fourth line, Shane Van Sage is a freshman, one of the youngest players in college hockey, and he had 4 points on the weekend. Like,
wow. Yeah.
It goes both ways for hockey and for basketball. Like you have strength in numbers, and that's like something that I've had to stray away from a lot too, is because I feel like I'm getting so repetitive with talking about the depth of the team. Yeah. But even like obviously coaches realize it. And you can't there's no way that you can get away from that. Yeah. It's just there, and it's something that you have to talk about. But yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But a big thing because of that is like the bench points that come from the games. You know, they're averaging like I don't even know, but like I want to say in the high 20s to low 30s points per game from the bench.
Wow.
It's insane.
I feel like that's so many more than there was last year too. Like I feel like last year they weren't getting as many people off the bench as they are this year. Yeah. Am I wrong in that, or?
I think you're right. I would agree.
I mean, I feel like last year you saw a lot of Walker, Hogard, Akins. Who am I thinking of?
Maybe Madi Sissoko.
Oh, Madi Sissoko and Cooper.
Oh, yeah.
It was a lot of the time that was a lot of the starting 5, and you didn't see like a lot of like other people coming off the bench. You did, but it wasn't like you saw Jeremy Fierce get off the bench. You saw Trey Holloman get off the bench, but now you have guys that are taking these guys off the bench that have 20 to 30 points. Like that's.
Yeah, and like
it's speaking to the depth of the team.
Yeah, and like Jace Richardson, he's averaging around 21 minutes a game, and so are a lot of these subs. They're getting like 18 plus minutes per game, and it's just and they're all impacting the game. They're all impacting on offense and defense. So it's great to see. I think MSU just needs to figure out their shooting a bit more. But besides that, yeah. If they're gonna,
Tom Izzo needs to make them shoot threes until they drop. Yeah. If you miss a 3, go. Yeah. Run. Yeah. Keep doing it.
I agree.
Yeah. So moving from men's basketball to women's basketball, the women's basketball team has been on fire. Yeah. Oh my gosh. They have put up I think 4 out of the 5 games they've played this season, they have outscored their team by over 50 points. Yeah, that's except for insane. Against Western. And it is just awesome to see the turnaround that Robin Freilich has brought to this Michigan State women's basketball program. Last year, it was the same story of just getting off to a hot start and outscoring opponents the way that they did. Like, last year, their first game was against Oakland. They won 87-62, and then it was Wright State 99-55, 105-44, 105-49, 95-69. Like, and then you get into Big Ten play, and things get a little closer. Like, I think their first loss of the season was to Creighton in November. It was 83-69, but after that, their first loss was to Nebraska, and it was 80-74. They only lost by 6 points in their first Big Ten matchup with a first-time head coach. And then we get into this year, and their first game of the year was against Oakland, 107-42.
Yeah. When I saw that, my jaw dropped. Yeah.
Like, holy crap. But they have added, I think it speaks to the women's basketball team as well, is they've added depth to their roster. Freilich went into the transfer portal, picked up players that she knew would be great for the team in the portal, brought them to Michigan State, and now they're outscoring opponents by anywhere between 40 to 50 points.
Yeah.
Every team that they have played so far has not scored over 50 points except for Eastern Kentucky, and they scored 54. Everybody else, 42, 49, 42, 44.
Wow. That's insane.
I'm gagged.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's just so awesome to see what has come of this program. Like, there's so many programs at Michigan State that are overlooked, I feel like.
Yeah.
And I think that women's basketball is one of them.
Yeah.
Like, people don't pay attention as much as they should to gymnastics or women's basketball. Hockey just became relevant within the last couple of years because of Nightingale. There are so many teams at this school that are on fire.
Yeah.
And people don't realize it.
Right. Yeah, like gymnastics. Gymnastics won
back-to-back Big Ten champions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or even soccer. Soccer won back-to-back Big Ten champions.
Yeah.
Women's soccer was on fire, and they didn't lose a game for like 15 or 16 games in a row.
Yeah.
This season. That was a record.
Yeah.
Then obviously they didn't fall off, but they were at one point. They were at one point ranked number 1 in the country.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap!
I'm trying to see.
But
and now they're in the tournament right now, so we'll see how they do.
But a big name that I've been hearing a lot for women's basketball has been Grace Van Slooten. And I forget where she transferred from, but she has been a really key player for the team. This article by Dougie, she had 15 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 blocks.
I think she transferred from Oregon. Hopefully there's not a ghost in here.
The door just opened.
So
we're haunted. We're literally haunted. It's the ghost of former Sports Roundtable podcasts hosts coming to get us.
But when you look at MSU women's basketball's 5 games, they're outscoring their opponents by 49.2 points. This is going to be averages. They're averaging almost 52% from field goal, 35% from 3-point, making almost 8 3-pointers per game. Free throw percentages, 74%, not awful. They're making 21 per game. They're making 21 per game. I don't know if it was making or attempting. Rebounding, they're averaging 41 rebounds a game, which is 10.4 more than their opponents. 22 assists, almost 23 assists per game, 13 turnovers, but they're also forcing 27.2 turnovers a game. That's absurd. I don't think I've ever heard that before.
I am very, very interested to see what those numbers turn into, though, when they start Big Ten play.
Yeah. Oh, totally. It'll be different.
A lot of, obviously, you start seasons playing teams that aren't fantastic. Like, they're not Power 4 colleges. They're not, like, Big Ten, SEC, whatever the other two conferences are. Yeah, the other conferences. But they're not, like, huge powerhouse teams that you're playing. Like with MSU football, you're playing Prairie View, you're playing Central, you're playing Western Kentucky, you're playing Western Michigan, Eastern, and then you get into Big Ten play, and it's kind of a reality check for the team of like, holy crap, like we're playing against people who now, no offense to the smaller college athletes, have the same athletic ability as you do, and obviously you get players that come from smaller schools to the Big Ten into powerhouse colleges.
Okay. Yeah.
But I couldn't speak. But again, it will be very interesting to see what happens when Michigan State women's basketball does start conference play, and they have 3 more games until then. They have Detroit Mercy, they have Cal, and they have DePaul.
Okay.
And then Iowa is their first Big Ten game, which, again, will be interesting because they don't have Caitlin Clark anymore.
Yeah. So it'll also be interesting to see what the Iowa at home, their home games, what the attendance is going to be like post Caitlin Clark.
Because Caitlin Clark's not there anymore. Yeah. Didn't their head coach retire too, or am I wrong?
You know what? I feel like you're right.
I think she did.
Men's basketball head coach. Jan.
See, but then they play Montana and they play Alabama. What?
No, I think she's still...
Is she still there?
Yeah. I believe so. Jan Jensen. Oh wait, no, never mind. She's a new head coach. Sorry, but she's been a head coach for
this podcast is going to turn into us talking about the Iowa women's basketball team.
Right.
Where did she coach at before? Hello? Jan.
Coaching career. Okay, so before... Oh, she was the assistant head coach. That's why. Since 2000, she's been the assistant head coach.
Okay. Well, so either way, there is a coaching change, but she has been with the program for 25 years, it looks like.
Yes.
So...
real quick, though, still about MSU women's basketball. Over 35 points off of turnovers. Like, I'm just, like...
Gagged.
Yeah. Like, 16 steals a game, 4.2 blocks a game. Like, this is just incredible numbers.
The way that you're holding onto the computer, like, you want to be like
I know, right?
Like,
yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. Van Sluten, she's averaging 16.8 points per game. Incredible. Julia Ayrault, is that how you pronounce her name?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought so, yeah. 13.6 points per game. Yeah, no, those two.
It's just those two?
Well, no.
Well, yeah.
Theron Halleck.
I was going to say Theron Halleck is a big...
13.2 points per game.
She's a very key player in that team.
Yeah. But, yeah, no, Van Sluten is also averaging 9 rebounds a game. I mean, it's incredible.
She's going to be a rock star for us this year, you can tell.
Oh, yeah.
Faux show. All right. Faux show. So they've got Cal coming up. Every time I think of that college, by the way, I think of, is it Sunday Night Football, I think, when they introduce all the players on the bottom, and it's like their name, where they went to college. And every time I think of Cal, I think of Jared Goff. Because it's Jared Goff, Cal.
Yeah.
And then it just keeps going.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's all I needed to make a point about.
I wish I could go to the game. Well, it's in Palm Springs. The game's going to be in Palm Springs. But,
road trip.
Yeah, low key, because Yeah, no, I grew up watching Cal.
Did you?
Specifically Cal women's basketball, actually, because my best friend's mom used to coach there, so then we had season tickets, and we would like be courtside. Yeah.
Where is Cal at?
Berkeley.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's UC Berkeley?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I got it. I was like, dang, you're making road trips to LA every weekend to go watch California basketball?
Yeah, no.
That doesn't sound like fun. How far is that drive? Hours?
What?
From where you are to
like
LA?
San Francisco to LA?
Yeah.
Like 8 hours, but it could be 5 hours or it could be 10 hours, depending on traffic.
Because you can take...
It just depends on traffic. But sure, different routes too. Yeah.
I was gonna say there's different routes that you can take.
Yeah.
Because you can. What's that? The West Coast Highway or something?
The one.
Yeah.
Yeah. That one's. The one is sick. I love driving on.
Well, we just turned into a geography podcast.
Yeah. We're just in everything. Yeah.
Welcome to the Roundtable podcast, where we bring you everything of the United States geographical system. Today we're talking about California.
Highway 1.
Oh boy. All right. Next up, we've got hockey.
Mm-hmm.
Yay! So, Michigan State hockey
Take it away.
team. Say less. Michigan State hockey team has started Big Ten play, and since then they are now undefeated in the Big Ten. They're number 2 in the country, which is huge. They moved up 2 spots after Notre Dame, after they moved up 2 spots. We swept Notre Dame. Minnesota split with Bemidji State, and Boston College split with UConn. So that moved us up to number 2 in the country, number 1 in the Big Ten. We scored 12 goals on the weekend against Notre Dame this past week, and that's the first time in Big Ten history for hockey that Michigan State has scored 8 goals on a Big Ten opponent. Last year, we scored 7 goals twice in 2 games. This is the first time we've scored 8, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And I was looking the other day, but don't quote me on this because I can't figure out. Like, I wasn't paying enough attention to, like, actually go into depth about it, but I'm pretty sure that this season is the first time that Michigan State has swept Big Ten opponents back-to-back 2 weekends in a row for the first time in conference history. Last year we swept the first weekend of Big Ten play, and then we split with Penn State. We won one night, and then we lost in shootout night 2.
Right. Okay.
So it was
I remember
technically
that.
a tie. So we didn't sweep. And then the year before that was the first year under Nightingale, and I think we split or we got swept one of the weekends of Big Ten. But yeah, since 2013, 2014 is when we became a Big Ten team in hockey. And we haven't swept back-to-back weekends of Big Ten play since.
Wow.
Yeah. But I was like, holy crap. Like, I was looking through, like, I was scrolling for a while, too, because I didn't know. I had to text Jamie and be like, hey, when did Michigan State turn into Big Ten for hockey? Mm-hmm. And so I got back to, like, 2008. Like, I got back to the national championship team, and I was like, we were in the CCHA then. Like, what am I doing here? But yeah, it's very interesting to see.
Yeah, it's very cool. And it seems like, MSU has just been completely dominant. A 7-game win streak. Mm-hmm. 5. Okay, so we've lost at home once.
Against Boston College.
Right. But besides that, 5 wins at home, 4 away, which is pretty incredible. Mm-hmm. Yeah, what do you think is going to happen this season?
I mean, I think that this season is, as much as, like, we lost last year, we lost key components of the team. We lost one of the best defensive pairings in college hockey, in my opinion, because we lost Nash, and he graduated, and we lost Artem Levzhinov to the draft. Mm-hmm. But we have brought in other players who can not replace them, but who we build on the depth of the team. Yeah. Like we were talking about earlier, I think that this is a national championship contending team. I think we'll definitely go further than we did last year. Last year was in heartbreaking fashion to Michigan in the regional round, and then they got shut out in the Frozen Four against Boston College.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening this year. I think that we repeat Big Ten championship. I think we repeat tournament championship, and I think we make it to the Frozen Four.
Whew.
And then we'll see from there.
Yeah.
Because again, it's only Adam Nightingale's been coaching here for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a lot to ask in a coach that's only in his third season to be like, take us to a national championship game and win it all.
Right. Totally.
Which I know that's the mentality of the team is take it one game at a time. But I know that they're probably all like, all right, like we got a chip on our shoulder and it's time to get after it.
And yeah, it's time to do better this season. Yeah.
No, take us further than last year. But yeah, so this weekend they play an exhibition game tomorrow. Well, this comes out on Friday. They play an exhibition game on Thursday. Sorry, cut the cameras. They play an exhibition game on Thursday against the U.S. National Team Development Program where Nightingale coached a few games. Right. Players like Charlie Stramel, Trey Augustine, Isaac Howard, Shane Van Sage, Red Savage. 5 or 6 of them played for the National Team Development Program, and that's where we see Charlie Stramel come to Michigan State because he knows how Nightingale coaches, which is great. But a portion, so every ticket bought, $5 is taken off the ticket and given to the Deschamps family, I think is how you pronounce the last name. I forget the husband's name, but the wife is Kelly Deschamps. And her husband is an assistant coach for Michigan hockey right now. And Adam Nightingale played with him in the NHL for a little bit. So they have a relationship. And a portion of the proceeds, $5 off every ticket, is getting donated to a fund for his wife, who was just diagnosed within the last couple of months. I've seen it on Instagram. Within the last couple of months, she was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. So Adam Nightingale decided with help from the National Team Development Program and USA Hockey Arena that they were going to donate a portion of the tickets to her. So it's going to be a packed crowd. Yeah. There's going to be a bunch of people there. I've heard through the rumor mill that there's going to be former National Team Development players there. So yeah, it should be. It's always interesting, like going up against the National Team Development Program or how we went against Windsor last month, because Adam Nightingale says that he wants them to play mature hockey. Like, don't play your style of hockey, but don't be too flashy. Don't be cute about it. Just because you're playing an exhibition game against a team that's 6 years younger than some of them. I know Danny Russell's 23rd birthday was on Saturday, and they're playing I don't know if it's U17 or U18. So some of those kids are 17 and 18 years old. Yeah, like that could be his little brother. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it'll. Everybody has said, like, that's an arena that they love going back to. I've talked to other reporters who just love the arena in general. But yeah. Yeah, I think the game, I just looked it up, so it's Matt and Kelly Deschamps. Matt is his first name, yep. Yeah. I think the game is going, like, obviously it's going to be competitive or whatever, but I feel like there's actually going to be fewer people wearing, like, MSU gear, and I think there's going to be, or, like, memorabilia, whatever. I think there's going to be more people wearing, like, pink to support Kelly. Or even Michigan. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised about that at all, which is okay because the proceeds are going to a Michigan coach. But yes. But so I think it's going to be a really, like, important game for this game. Yeah, this game is going to be very important. I think it's going to be packed. It's going to be, people are going to be watching. I feel like more people are going to be there supporting than. Maybe not more people supporting than watching, but, you know, like, a lot of people there are going to be there to support them. Yeah. And there's a live stream where you can watch the game for free. Yeah. Like, yes. Yeah. So you want to know something funny? So sure. So there's a former Michigan State hockey player who I don't know where hang on. 20 minutes later. His name's Justin Abdelkader. I think, actually, he played for Detroit, and he played for the Griffins for a while, which is the AHL team for them. But on the front page of the Detroit Free Press after the Lions beat the Jags at home, Justin Abdelkader was on the front page of the paper with Amon-Ra and Jamison Williams next to him, like cheering on the team.
No way.
Yeah, I can't get the picture pulled up. Oh, it was on the Instagram. Maybe. But it was so cool, like, just to... Yeah. Like, he's a Michigan guy through and through, because he played for Michigan State. Gosh, can I just not log into Instagram anywhere? But we all, like, it was posted on MSU Hockey's Instagram, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, that's so cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I found it. Where'd it go? Or not, or it's gone. Maybe it was just on on the Instagram story. Okay, cool.
That's okay.
But either way, I spent way too much time trying to talk about that. Now it's gone. But yeah,
cut that.
Yeah, can we just cut the cameras, please? But yeah, it was super cool. Like when worlds collide.
Yeah. Time to wrap up, right?
So last thing we're getting into is women's soccer earned a number 5 seed. I don't like you. Go home. Michigan State women's soccer earned a number 5 seed in the NCAA tournament. They were sadly knocked out in the Big Ten tournament to Rutgers.
Yeah, they lost 2-1 in overtime.
Yes, in overtime.
Or extra time, whatever you want to say.
Yeah, overtime, extra time, whatever it was. So they earned a number 5 seed in the NCAA tournament. They welcomed in Western Michigan to DeMartin Stadium on Saturday, yes.
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
And they knew coming in Western Michigan was going to be tough because they won the MAC. And Western hadn't, from what I was hearing on the broadcast, they hadn't allowed more than like 2 goals in a game the entire season. Wow. Michigan State won 3-1.
Yeah.
And now they move on.
Yep. That's pretty sick.
I thought it was so cool.
Yeah.
And Western hadn't lost a regulation game. Like, I think they only had like 2 or 3 losses on the entire season. They were a wagon in the MAC this year. And obviously they deserved the NCAA tournament spot. But Michigan State was ready to fire after they lost in the Big Ten tournament, especially when they had the chance to three-peat.
Right, yeah.
For Big Ten championship.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they ended up winning 3-1.
Yeah.
And I believe they played Texas next.
They played Texas on Friday. Yeah, they played Texas on Friday. Texas is ranked 4th. And if MSU beats Texas, then they play the winner of Duke versus Texas Tech, I believe. And Duke is ranked 1st. So it'll most likely be Duke. But yeah.
But, I mean, we were ranked number 1 at one point.
Right.
So who's to say we can't go in and beat Texas or Duke?
Yeah. No, very true. Against Western Michigan, MSU had more shots. And they had 11 shots and 9. Oh, okay, here we go. 11 shots and 9 on target, while Western Michigan had 9 shots, but only 2 on target.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. And of those 2 shots, MSU had 1 save and the other one went in. So, yeah.
Yikes.
And then corner kicks, MSU had 9 and Western Michigan had 0. Pretty crazy to think about.
I think Western had a red card at one point, from what I saw on Twitter. Somebody from LSJ posted that they had to play a man down for like 40 minutes almost, like a really long time.
Exactly 40 minutes, yeah. Or just over 40 minutes, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, obviously that played a part of Michigan State winning.
Totally.
Playing down a player is tough. It's like playing on a penalty kill for 40 minutes. Like, you don't realize how tough it is to play down a player.
It's awful.
Even if you're on a bigger field than a hockey rink, but still. Yeah.
Yeah, so MSU plays Texas on Friday at 4 p.m. You can watch it on ESPN Plus. I won't because I don't have ESPN Plus. But
I do.
Oh, fun.
You want my ESPN Plus login?
Actually, we have our meeting during that time anyway, so.
Oh, we do.
Yeah.
It's okay. And I have to cover the football game, so.
Oh, okay.
Yay!
Fun.
I can't even watch the soccer game. That's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
That was a lot of sports today.
That was a lot of sports, some geography, some
got a history lesson today.
Some additional information that wasn't completely necessary, but
hey,
maybe it was to you guys.
Yeah.
Maybe it was.
It should be. It's still fun.
Yeah, it's still fun. We had fun.
We had a great time.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Alrighty. This has been the... How do you just go and end it like that? If PJ doesn't laugh at me, this has been the Sports Roundtable podcast, and we will see you guys soon.